Huzzah and good day, my wonderful students. Today we will be discussing the Articles of Confederation. Now, the Articles created a League of Friendship instead of a strong national government. It had a unicameral legislature with no executive or judicial branch. By unicameral, I mean only one house, where our current bicameral legislature has a House of Representatives and a Senate. This one simply was the Congress of one house. Each state had only one representative with one vote, and the states could recall them at any time. As you can gather, this actually disadvantaged the states with a larger population, such as New York, and favored the smaller states, such as Connecticut, which had a much smaller population. Now, Congress only had the powers expressed in the Articles. All others remained with the states. Now, Congress could make laws, could make war or peace, could send and receive ambassadors, enter into treaties with foreign governments, raise and equip a navy, and maintain an army by requesting troops from the states. They could appoint senior military officers to that army, and they could fix standard weights and measures. They could regulate Native American affairs, establish post offices, and decide certain disputes between the states. The weaknesses of the Articles. The national government was weak because the states did not want to give up their power, their sovereignty. Congress did not have the power to levy taxes, and so they had to ask the states for money, and many times the states did not give Congress money. Congress did not have the power to regulate trade, and disputes between the states arose regarding trade, and it was difficult to make business arrangements with foreign governments because the national government couldn't even regulate trade in its own country. Congress could not enforce their own laws because there was no executive branch, and laws needed the approval of 9 out of 13 states, and that almost never happened. The lack of an executive branch also made it difficult to coordinate government policies. And the lack of a judicial branch meant that state courts had to enforce national laws and settle disputes between the states. And what would happen if there was a problem between one state and another is if Massachusetts had a problem with New York, Massachusetts court would solve in favor of Massachusetts, and a New York state court would solve in favor of the state of New York, and the solution never actually got implemented. In spite of all this, they actually had some achievements under the Articles of Confederation. The states ceded their claims to lands west of the Appalachians, which allowed for the formation of new states once Congress passed the Northwest Ordinance. And Congress was able to ratify the peace treaty with Britain, which gave the United States the land that you actually see here all the way up to the Mississippi River. The Departments of War, Treasury, etc. were set up under the Articles. And the Articles encouraged states not to discriminate against citizens of other states, and this was carried over to the Constitution. But there were problems. Disputes between the states arose over boundaries and tariffs. The national government had no way to pay its national debt, and did not have the money to maintain an army. And in 1787, a group of farmers in Massachusetts were unable to pay their mortgages. Many of them were jailed or had their property taken from them. So Daniel Shays led farmers to march on the Springfield Arsenal and threatened to lay siege to the city of Boston unless legislators helped them. The rebellion was defeated, but lawmakers feared the country would collapse in revolution, which is going to set the stage for something else. Now, George Washington had been concerned about problems between Virginia and Maryland, and he invited representatives from both states to his home to discuss problems. It was a success, and another meeting was called for all the states to discuss problems with commerce. Now, only 5 states sent delegates to this meeting, but Hamilton convinced the delegates to call a convention to make the national government more effective. And Shays' Rebellion happened around this time, which convinced people that they needed to send delegates to these conventions to fix the problems with the national government. So Shays' Rebellion was obviously not a good thing, but it led to something. It let people understand that there was a problem that needed to be fixed. And that is the end of this slideshow.